In today's video, we're diving into a fascinating clip from a lecture by Dr. Sam Richards, a sociology professor at Penn State University. During this particular moment, Dr. Richards unpacks some controversial ideas around race, identity, and what many are calling the woke double standard. It's a bold conversation that challenges mainstream narratives, and it's definitely worth a closer look. Let's break it down.
All right, so this guy got fired for dropping the N-bomb. So let me walk you through. So if you want to fire this guy for walking the N-bomb, this guy here, he said it in the context of talking about somebody else in history. Okay, then this is where we're going to go, right here. So this guy, Marlon Anderson, security guard at a school district in Madison, Wisconsin, at a high school in Madison, Wisconsin. Some kid in the school is being disruptive. The principal calls for help, calls the school guardians, being like, they're trying to take this guy out of the school. Calls Marlon over, like, Marlon, help out. We got to take this guy out. The kid's fighting. He's like yelling stuff. He's yelling obscenities. And he starts calling this guy the N-bomb. And then Marlon puts up with it. He's like, dude, stop that. As he's like wrestling him out of the building. Stop that. Dude, stop calling me that. Stop calling me that word. And he's getting him out of the building. Stop calling me that. Come on, man. Really, stop. And the two of them, and then finally, Marlon says, stop calling me N-bomb. Got it? Well, what Marlon forgot was the high school has a zero tolerance policy for saying N-bomb. So the kid was going to get expelled, but he gets fired. And the principal comes forward with a statement to people, to all the family members. Here she is, right here. So she sends a letter informing them that a staff member would not be returning to the school. And she writes, as you know, our expectation when it comes to racial slurs has been made very, very clear. Regardless of context or circumstances, racial slurs are not acceptable in our schools. So, my friends, you want to fire Papa John? You think he should be fired? Well, then he should be fired. Because he broke a zero tolerance policy. Why wouldn't he be fired? Oh, well, he can't because it's a little different. What's the difference? It's just as absurd. Really, what's the difference? What's the difference? I'm going to push you on that. I can point the differences. I'm smart enough. I can see that these are different situations and so on, and I'm going to push back and be like, what's the difference? Hang on, this is just rhetorical. And then she is the one that writes the letter saying, sorry, Marlon had to go because he broke our zero tolerance policy. He ultimately got his job back because so many people, including students at the school, were upset and bothered and so on. Same people that didn't come to the defense of John Schneider from Papa John. I'm sure they didn't come to his defense, but they came to his defense. So this is where we go. This is the world we're going to go in. If we want to have these kinds of, we're going to have language police and action police and thought police and so on. You want to walk up that aisle? Well, we're going to walk up the other aisles also. This is where we're at. And then what's really the problem here? We're not paying attention to racism as though like Papa John is the problem, as though this guy here is the problem. No, racism and violence against everybody, but disproportionately against people who are black and brown seems to me to be the problem. And against women, I should add. But we get ourselves all rolled up in a ball in all these other ways.
Context matters. We've created a culture where one misstep, regardless of intent, can destroy someone's career. There's no room for nuance, no consideration for circumstances. Being labeled a racist today, even unfairly, can end your livelihood. That kind of power in the hands of outrage culture is dangerous. Words are judged not by meaning or context, but by who says them. And that double standard only deepens division. If you enjoy videos like this, make sure to subscribe.
So here, I got another one for you. How many know who she is? You see this? This just came out in the news. So a woman says Denver arena guard told her to remove a hijab. So she was going to the arena in Denver to see one of her children was singing in a choir, I think. So she shows up at the arena. And the hijab, from what I could see in the photos, her covering was more or less very similar to this. So she shows up, and the security guard says, as she's walk up toward me, you're going to get in. Stop. You can't come in with that. You got to take that off. And then she says, what do you mean I got to take it off? So, no, you got to take it off. So she says, I wear this for religious reasons. I don't want to take it off. She says, I don't care why you wear that thing, you're taking it off if you want to come in. It's like, okay. So she says to the guard, do you think there's a place, and she's with her child. She says, do you think there's a room where we could go? Like kind of a secure room that's where I could take it off and, because she's kind of modest about taking her hijab off. And the guard says, no, there's nothing like that. You have to go, and sort of waves her away. So this woman is like, oh my God, what am I going to do? So pretty quickly, this all happens really fast. A guy comes out from in this other area. He walks over, assesses the situation really fast, and apparently pulls the security guard aside, and first off, and then waves her through. Very fast. It's like 30, maybe 40 seconds. And then the security guard comes back out, so they talk to her briefly, and she comes back out and doesn't say anything, doesn't really interact with her, but this woman gets in. She goes through the metal detector. The metal detector goes off because her cell phone was in her pocket, and she had to come back and get the cell phone out and so on, and it was fine. And she gets in. So the whole thing takes an additional maybe 45 seconds or so, not very long. Okay, cool? Got it? So the idea is the security guard is clearly out of line. And it's a problem because you don't know what hijab is and you don't understand anything about this head covering and Muslim women and so on. And so, come on, man, are you kidding me? What do you mean? She's coming to you saying it's for religious reasons. What do you know? Like, why aren't you aware? Why don't you know? Why don't you understand what's going on? So then this is a problem. So the Council on Islamic Affairs and Islamic American Relations, they get involved and they put out press release and, I forget what they said, but, something like this is just really terrible. This is an indication of what happens to Muslim people and so on. And she didn't make like a major deal over it, but she'd put out a Facebook post and say, hey, this happened to me. And that's how it blew up. And it blew up such that when I went online, when I looked at it, it's everywhere. These are just images, but each one is the same story over and over and over again. Here's the problem with this. Here's what makes it complicated. What do you think about what you're thinking about the security guard? She's a 71-year-old African-American woman. So people are calling for her to be fired, calling for a lawsuit against the Denver Nuggets arena, calling for a lawsuit against the security company, calling for them, all sorts of things happening. The security guard, first off, she's 71 years old. I'm like, all right, man, you've been on the planet 71 years, but she's not up on hijabs. Can we go back to Papa John? We want to play in that world where you do one thing wrong, and we could even have arguments about what is and isn't wrong. What if he accidentally drops the N-bomb, but he was trying to say another word, and he accidentally said that one, and oh my God, how far do we want to go? So if we want to play in that world of utter condemnation for the slightest thing that we do wrong, the slightest mistake we made, well then the black security guards should get fired. The whole Denver organization could get sued. I mean, how far you want to go with it? First off, it's the same thing as the other story. It's like black security guard. Can you just Stop with the hand waving and you're not coming in here with that. First off, this woman said there were men in the lobby when they were getting with baseball caps on. Of course, and I'm like, she's not making that shit up because there are men everywhere with baseball. If there are more than 3 men, there's at least 1 baseball cap. So like, why are they getting in? You know what I mean? Like, come on. Or did you make them all take the cap off and see if there's something under the cap? Did you she's asking, can we go to a private room? Could you maybe we could just, I could take it off. I could show you I don't have anything underneath. No, we can't do that. Okay, so she could have just whipped it off. Like the men probably would just whip their cap off and be like, yeah, see, I'm good. Like, all right, good. But she's not. It's different for her. Wearing a hijab, covering her hair is different than, you wearing the baseball cap or you or whoever. What I'm saying, I don't know. There's nobody's right, nobody's wrong. All I know is when we start pointing our fingers at things, at people, 3 are coming back at us, and it's going to be a problem.
Did this security guard get fired?
Did she get fired?
Yeah.
Nah, they just pull her aside and be like, come on, man, let's bring you up to speed. Here's this thing, it's called a job. She was probably like, yeah, I kind of heard of them, but she probably doesn't know any Muslim women. She probably hasn't really thought. It's one of these things, just like he's asking, yeah, but I don't really know about the hijab. So, I don't know, can you wear it? Just remember when we talked about hair? And, people don't know about hair. They don't know about black hair. They don't know about anything. People don't know about anything, right?
Okay, so I am lucky enough to be enlightened in certain subjects.
No, hang on. Not enlightened. Don't say enlightened.
Okay,
You're
informed.
lucky enough, or by chance,
right,
you know about certain things.
So we'll go with what he said. And I have a couple of things. My first thing is, how do you have an 81-year-old 71 security guard in a athletic
she's not really
arena?
A security guard. I mean, she's not chasing anybody down. Not like this dude or this dude. She's just taking tickets and stuff.
It's like the guy on Barstool, if you ever saw the security guard at Beaver Stadium, who's barely touching the people that he's checking. It's kind of like that, I assume.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay.
And when you explain the situation, I feel like she's 100% wrong, because that's like asking. I feel like there's a lot of prejudice against the hijab, and for someone to ask them to take it off, unless you're in the airport, that's a whole different situation. And me and TSA are not friends, so I'm cool with that.
Yeah, I got it.
But that's. My scenario would be asking someone to take off their cross because you're wearing a cross, or the Star of David or something.
Okay, so let me just say the following. That's a really nice response. I will say the following. My imagination of her is actually that it's just as likely, instead of her being really aggressive and she knows what it is and she's just F you Muslims or whatever, right? She's actually just totally unknowing about any of it. She's like, no, you're wearing a hat. No, take it off, whatever. She's just as whatever. As anything else. It's just as likely that that's very much the story and we don't know. But
I was just going to say, to answer the question about the hijab, it's in terms of taking it off, let's say you get asked to take off your shirt. Taking off your shirt isn't necessarily difficult. It's just it's exposing. So she wouldn't want to take that off in front of other people, and she might want a private room. Or it's let's say a teacher says take off your hat in class. It's not hard to take off your hat. It's just you feel exposed when you take it off, so you don't want to take it off in front of
exactly.
people.
No, I think that's the kind of thing, right? For me, look, y'all, right? Yins for the Pittsburgh folks, yins. What this class is about is an opportunity to touch on lots and lots of different things so that we don't become the security guard. It seems really obvious to me, but it's not obvious to everybody. So it's okay. Wait, who else? Well, can we make one final thing, man?
I would also say that it's almost like the comment that was made last class about eating pork with a Muslim father. It's it's a form of disrespect. When you ask somebody to do that, it's a form of disrespect.
Yeah, totally, man. Wait, all right, go ahead. What do you think?
My problem with her isn't the fact that she was ignorant on hijabs. It's the fact that after she asked for a private room and explained that it was a religious.
still said no.
She still said no.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, I know. That seems, but maybe it's really busy. There's a million people. Look at me. I'm the guy that's trying to make excuses for a 71-year-old black woman who's clearly being ignorant and racist. And I'm like, you hear what I'm doing? I'm doing the thing that, so a lot of you complain that well, when you tell you about racism, you say, yes, but it might have been this other thing, and it might have been that. And here I am doing that for a 71-year-old black woman. I'm like, y'all, maybe she did this, or maybe she was that, or I'm that guy.
In a world where context is often ignored and double, standards run wild, especially when it comes to race and gender. Discussions like these are more important than ever. And let's be real, if the roles in some of these situations were reversed, the outrage would be automatic and the consequences immediate. That's the problem. At the end of the day, Dr. Richards is doing what more professors should be doing, challenging students to think critically and ask the tough questions. Whether you agree with him or not isn't really the point. What matters is that he's sparking honest conversations in a time when that's becoming rare. So shout out to Sam Richards for still pushing boundaries and actually teaching, not just lecturing. We need more of that. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button, drop a comment down below with your thoughts, and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next.